Trying to get used to looking at the camera. I know.
Okay.
Hey, welcome back to the Vicious Cycle Whiskey, Women, and Water podcast. My guest today is a gentleman named Chris Donato and also my friend. And I don't really know where to start because now I'm thinking about the hula hooping neighbor thing. And so, well, I should probably just bring it up as long as it's here. I was just telling Chris I had done a bunch of yard work recently. And I was bummed at first that when I cut down all my trees, you could clearly see to the neighbor's house. But then I discovered that I have a really good looking neighbor who hula hoops for like hours on end in a string bikini. So it's actually become a whole different set of problems than I ever thought would happen. But anyways, without further ado, here's my good friend, Chris Donato.
What's up, guys?
Chris, this could probably be a podcast in itself. But here's the question I want to start with.
Sure.
How the hell did you end up in Hawaii?
Well, I'll kind of do the abridged version, so it doesn't.
Well, you don't have to do the abridged version.
Okay.
That's the beautiful thing about this platform.
Okay. Well, it's I guess it all started when I went to Samoa on a surf trip when I was younger. I was probably like 16, maybe somewhere around that, and I grew up on the East Coast, and I love fishing and surfing and everything with the ocean, but growing up on the East Coast, you kind of always want to see the rest of the world, and the South Pacific always kind of appealed to me. So I went there on a surf trip, and I fell in love with Polynesia, Pacific Islands. And then I had some opportunities to work doing crew work on like sailboats and stuff like that, traveling around French Polynesia, doing stuff like that. So when I was younger, I spent a lot of time just trying to get to that part of the world as much as I could. And then an opportunity arose where the place that I kept going in Samoa was basically like a very basic, almost like a hostel kind of deal. Like it just had a couple rooms up on stilts, no bathrooms in the rooms, very basic. And the people that had started that, it was a surf resort, right? And the waves are out front. You got a right and a left, and little boats kind of go out and surf. And anyways, people that started it kind of did it sort of half-assed. I just wanted to get down there and do it, and never properly did a lease with the village. There was all kinds of things popping up, and apparently the government was talking about putting a bridge across where the resort was. And they basically were like, look, we want out of here. They were older guys from California. They really didn't even go there. So there was an opportunity to get involved and become an owner, become a shareholder. And so I was kind of looking at that, and the price was ridiculously cheap to do that. And I got involved, and we were able to kind of sort the lease out, this, that, the other thing, which started that chapter of my life where I just started going there a lot. I had an interest in it as a business, and also I just loved being down there. Wasn't making really much money or anything. It was more of a place to be able to go. And then I would fish in Florida in the, what we would call the off season there. There's waves in Samoa year round, but really the best time is our winter, which is their summer. So I would be I'd go in Florida and I'd fish and I go back, but Florida fishing is like sailfish, and back then they didn't really do the deep drop stuff. So we used to fish for swordfish at night, which was like my favorite thing to do. So we'd do all that and then go back and surf and this and that. And then, ended up going to college in New England where Kenton's that area. I was up in Rhode Island, did a little bit of fishing there, but I kind of stopped, fishing for a little bit when I went up that way. But, long story short, while I was in college, we had some managers running the resort, and we ended up finding out they were stealing a bunch of money. The guy was a mess. He's taking like diet pills or something, to get all cracked out on I don't know.
That must have been back when they had ephedra.
Yeah, maybe that's
back when it was
yeah.
You could make meth out of them.
So he was basically like a cheap meth addict, which I didn't even know was a thing. But anyways, they flipped a couple cars, and the whole college thing wasn't quite working out for me. So I just left and moved to Samoa, and And I started living down there, and I started fishing out of the little boats we had. I brought all my tackle from Florida, and then I just saw the potential of how good the fishing was there, and there was nobody there. You have like commercial guys, but there's no like sport fishing kind of deal. There's locals that have like skiffs, but they're kind of just going out catching chibis and stuff, or akus. They catch a lot of akus there.
How small is this village?
Well, the village that the resort's in is a pretty big Solani village. It's a pretty big village compared to most of the other villages. I don't think I really know the number of people, but it's small in our terms, but in the villages in Samoa, it's
hundreds or thousands. Like I don't even have any.
There'd probably be close to 1,000 something people in that entire village. But that's a bigger village, But for the most part, where we're at in Solani, like that main area right there, there's only 100 maybe or something like that. It's not huge, pretty tiny, and that's like probably what Hawaii was like hundreds of years ago. It's all village living, it's all village law. There's still like a chief and Matai system and everything. It's really an amazing place. The culture is just like untouched. But yeah, so that was part of it. I really just living there, and I fell in love with Polynesian culture and just the whole thing. I ended up marrying a Samoan down there, and well, that didn't work out, but we were married for
well, that could just because it was marriage. That could be the problem. It might not have been the particular.
But it was an amazing experience, and I guess I got to a point where I love being down there, and my fishing progressed too. I started fishing in a center console, and then I started fishing in. Started running a 43-foot cabo down there, and then I ran a.
When did you realize there was that much potential? Like, was it obvious right off the bat, or was it more you explored, you found stuff?
Well, it was pretty obvious right away, just because there was nobody there, and like the tuna piles are everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's just bait. So it was like, there's fish all over. So it was pretty quickly, but I didn't know if it was going to be ever a destination people would go way out of their way, right? Because you could catch marlin wherever. I mean, do it here, you can go wherever, right? So I was trying to find a big fish down there that could really get people to go. The tuna fishing's out of this world, but I don't think people are going to travel all the way to Samoa just to catch tunas,
Yes, because what's involved in getting there?
It's not that bad now. Well, I mean, ever since COVID, you can't even go. They still haven't opened the borders. But before that, there's a flight direct from Honolulu straight to Apia, and that's once a week. It's not bad. That's pretty easy. It's like a 5-hour flight. It's from Hawaii. It's pretty easy. But there's only one a week. So if you're going, you got to stay for the whole week. And then from New Zealand and Australia, the flights every year got easier. And there's quite a few from Brisbane. There's one from Brisbane. There's one from Sydney. There's one from Auckland. But those are the main flights, The main people coming there were Australians. I rarely had people chartering me from America, unless they were like going to come and fish with me for like 20 days, and they travel all over. But it was basically Australian, New Zealanders. And I tended to find a lot of Australians, and well, especially the New Zealanders, they just wanted to catch fish. They didn't really care about catching an 800-pounder. They just wanted to catch a bunch of mahi.
Anything. They didn't.
They were just like whatever. Which
they just wanted action.
Yeah, which you can do easily down there, but that's not what I was there for. And I got so sick of catching mahis and catching those. I'm not into meat fishing anymore, and that's probably why I just got tired of it.
Could they bring it home with them? Like, what was the point? Of hammering on all the meat fish? Could you bring it back?
I don't know. I mean, they could, but they didn't. Some guys did. But most of them, no, they just wanted to do it, take pictures and they just want action,
Right.
They'd sit there and drink and they wanted action, and Samoa didn't have a name for being like a famous marlin destination. So I didn't get a lot of people that were like, oh, we're going to go there for that. They went to Vanuatu, which I ended up actually going to Vanuatu and fishing there for a year.
Was that before or after, actually?
That was like I was in Samoa, and then I went there, and then I went back to Samoa.
Okay.
So I was in Samoa, had the opportunity to go to Vanuatu, went there for it's probably a little bit over a year. Then there was a tsunami. While I was away, there was a tsunami that came through and just wiped out the entire resort. In fact, we lost everything. It was a disaster.
Jesus, anyone get hurt?
Yeah, on our property, no. Everybody was safe. We had a bunch of guests, and the managers grabbed them. They jumped in the van, and they went to the top of the hill. They could tell because they basically had the earthquake. It was like a really bad earthquake. And then they're looking at the surf because the waves are really good that day. And they just saw the reef just starting to like expose itself. So they're like, okay, this isn't right. So they freaking started yelling, told everyone in the village, jumped in the car, took off. People in the village took off. The Salani is more like sea level, and the village is a little bit higher. So they didn't get that much damage in that village. But just down the road, there was nobody that died in Salani Village in that side there. And everybody got out of the resort. But just down the road, there was a lot of people that passed away. It was like really a devastating tsunami for down there because a lot of areas, once you get around that coast, are just flat.
God.
And they had no idea. They didn't know it was coming.
They've got no warning system or anything.
Yeah, they do now. Now they have much better warning system. But, the radio, I think the radio was like saying, hey, there's a tsunami coming, watch out. But, I mean, who had their radio on? It was like super early in the morning. So, that was bad. A lot of people died. We lost the whole resort.
Is there insurance for tsunamis down there?
Well, there is, but this was my first experience with an insurance company. And I mean, you've dealt with them, right? so we know what they're scumbags.
Needless to say, it's a fucked.
Yeah.
The whole fucking thing is a nightmare.
You're almost better just like putting your money in a savings account for a rainy day. I mean,
God, you almost really are. I was thinking that recently, like with my company, it's like, God, I could buy my boat every 4 years with what I'm paying in insurance. It's just like,
and then when you want to if you have a major problem, like you lose your boat or you lose your business, like they drag their feet and they look
fight
at everything.
You tooth and nail.
They fight you. They get lawyers. So that's what they did. They were like, oh, we'll pay you this. We'll make a deal with you and we'll pay you this. And we were like, no, like this is what it's. So we didn't get what we thought we would get. So we ended up having to take a loan from the bank, which then made me have to like move back to Samoa and keep an eye on the place and basically manage it with my wife at the time, who's a Samoan. So we moved back from Vanuatu and lived there and managed, because we rebuilt the whole resort and invested all kinds of money in it and redid it. So we're like, okay, we don't want to pay someone else to manage it. We'll come in, we'll do it, and we'll try and get things going. So I ended up back in Samoa, and then from there, I just, over time, I love I love Samoa, but living there, it wears you down. Just like going to get fuel, I'd have to go to the commercial dock and like jockey around commercial longline boats to get a hose. And then I'd have to like order it through a truck. It was like just doing that was a pain in the ass.
Was fuel expensive down there?
It was, but I mean, compared to now, not really,
Compared to $4.31
I did,
today.
But it was expensive, and the process was a pain. And then I ended up building a little wharf for that 37 Merit, and being able to get that in front of Salani. And it was like low tide, you had like this much water between the prop blades and the thing, but it was all sand. But we dug out where the boat would sit, and I would just have to time it with the tides. But then what I ended up doing was that boat doesn't burn a lot of fuel. So we would just get fill up jerry cans and walk back and just fill it that way. And I would get a bunch of 44-gallon drums, put in my truck, fill them with fuel. And then we ended up getting a siphon thing and a hose. And we would just made our own little gas station there for a while. And that was an interesting experience. But yeah, I guess just the remoteness, it started to really wear on me. And Kona is just one of those dream destinations, big fish. And then also while I was in Samoa, I had a lot of people from the Big Island coming there to surf, because we do get good waves here in Kona, but compared to the other Hawaiian Islands, it's pretty terrible. There's a few waves that are just outstanding, but they're fickle. They break every once in a while. But so a lot of people want to travel, right? Samoa's close. And so we had a lot of people from the Big Island that would come over and come and go on surf trips. And they were always like the coolest people. They'd always bring like a bunch of coffee and gifts, and they were always super cool. And just the people were amazing. I just I fell in love with Kona before I even came here, really. And then I came down and fished a little bit one summer with my buddy Mikey Dakel, and then I was like, yeah, this place is amazing. It's calm. It's pretty easy to come out here and fish for the most part. It's not a pain in the ass. If you want to get fuel, it's easy to get fuel. The big fish are close. It's not a nightmare. So So I ended up being like, and I wanted to move back to America, but I couldn't go back to the mainland. Actually, I did go back to the mainland.
Why couldn't you go back? A legal thing?
No,
Oh.
no, I just couldn't do it. I went back and
I just didn't want to go back.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
But my original plan was like, okay, I did my Samoa thing, right? I was there for like, I don't even know. I think between there and Vanuatu was probably almost like 15 years or 11 years or something. It was a while, right? So I'd been living in the sticks for a while, all these different islands and stuff. So I went and I thought, okay, maybe I'm going to go back and work commercial real estate with my brother in New Jersey, make some money, do that whole dig. And so I went back and got all set up with him and started to kind of go to work with him. And I just immediately was like, what the hell? I was like, I can't be here. Like, these people are not my people. Like, I can't do this. I just was like so stressed. So,
well, especially coming from island time to going to New Jersey.
That's the thing. It was was like,
fuck yeah.
Exactly. and commercial real estate in Jersey. And I'm going to like jump in, and it's like, I was like, yeah, I can't do this. I got to stay with my passion and what I love. And, just accept I'm not going to make a lot of money. So,
welcome to fishing.
Exactly. Right? So I said, that's it. I want to do Kona. And then I had to figure out how I was going to get this 37 Merit from Kona. I was trying to sell it, but nobody wanted to buy it in that part of the world. Australia, if they bought it and shipped it back to Australia, they would have had to pay a crazy tax.
Yeah, like 100% or something, right? Something crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. And honestly, like, a lot of people over there don't even know what that boat is. It doesn't mix, there's no like, it wouldn't work for that fishery. It's so rough over there.
Yeah.
No one's really, the only thing would be if you found a collector and just wanted to drive it around the intercoastal there, the Gold Coast. But
yeah, it'd be a hard boat over there.
They weren't.
So much of it over there is just wet and windy and.
Exactly. So I had no option to sell it really, and I was like, what am I going to do? And funny how life just kind of, sometimes certain things happen at certain times. And here comes Joe Byram, randomly sends me an email about wanting to come to Samoa and video. And he was getting tired of what his job was, and he wanted to get into doing video and stuff like that. And he wanted to come down to Samoa.
That's how the friendship with Joe started, from fucking email.
This is funny, actually, the whole thing. So he sends me an email. He's like, oh, I read something about you on Marlin Magazine. I want to come out and hang out down there and film surfing and fishing. And at that point, I was trying to make the transition. I was like, man, I that's so awesome, but I'm actually trying to go to Hawaii. I'm trying to figure out a way to move this boat. And he was like, well, and I kind of I said, look, if you wanted to be, if you want to kind of get involved in this business with me, if you have some money and want to kind of loan it to me, get this boat over here to Hawaii, let's do this. And he was like, well, I might be able to pull that off. Let's meet up. Right. And at the time I was going to visit my mom. She lives in Florida. So I was like, let's meet up at Sailfish Marina. He was like, I think he was staying somewhere in northern Florida at the time at a friend's house. And so we met up. So he got there before me. So I walk in and here's this dude with long hair,
hippie,
drinking a Budweiser, sitting there. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, this is going to be a waste. And I'm like, he's not going to want to invest in this or do, I'm like,
even if he wanted to, this hippie doesn't have any money.
Exactly. I'm like, what the hell? So I come in and I sit down with him and we start chatting. And it's Joe. I mean, the guy is he's a good human. He's funny. And then we switched from beers to Bloody Marys, and we ended up drinking most of the day at Sailfish. And, I guess we probably got pretty drunk. I don't know, but
it sounds like you did.
I mean, long story short, he invested in it and we moved the boat, and, he really wanted a marlin fish, and that was a great opportunity. And he jumped in and kind of started first at second crew and photographer. And, his photography work was amazing. And then he just jumped in as my full-time crew, and the friendship went, and we did the boat and brought it over here. And that was that. And then here I am in Hawaii.
How long did it end up taking when everything was said and done to actually get the boat from Samoa to here? What was that process? Was that on a ship or?
Yeah, it was on a bunch. It was a nightmare. First off, it was a bunch of different things that happened. Had to go to Fiji. So, okay, here's the funny. So at the time I was going through this divorce with my half Samoan, half Australian wife. And I thought she was going to come after the boat too. So I thought I was going to thought the boat was going to get stuck in Samoa and just never be able to
be
leave.
frozen.
Yeah. And so I had a buddy of mine, because I knew if I flew back, whatever. Anyways, a friend of mine got it.
Sounded like there'd be some red flags.
Yeah. I maybe don't want to put this on the internet. But anyways, the boat ended up in Fiji.
Yeah, okay.
So
my friend borrowed it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he did a fishing trip to Fiji and ended up there. They ran out of fuel, so they had to stay in Fiji. No, but anyways,
These things happen.
Yeah, from Fiji, it had to ship on a container ship. They don't have any of those boats there where you can like drive up onto them, like Dockwise or whatever,
Yeah.
So they actually we had to get a cradle built in Fiji for that boat, which was a lot of fun trying to find welders that can put this together in Fiji and actually trust that this boat's going to sit on it. So
how much shit did those guys break?
Oh my God. When the boat got here, oh my God, dude.
Seems like a project with a lot of broken shit.
And a 37-foot Merit. I mean, the boat was freaking basically destroyed when it got here for the most part. And that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, the cradle, then they put it on there and it went from Fiji to Australia to New Zealand, back to Australia, and then to Hawaii. It made no sense to me, but different times it just and then a couple of times it had to change ships.
Was it? So it actually changed different ships too.
Change ships, and then they have their guys that they recommend to move it on some of the things. And
Jesus,
it was a nightmare. But then it finally gets here, right? And it took a long time. Right?
How the hell did you ever get it to Samoa in the first place? Was that easier?
That was way easier.
Way easier.
Yeah, way easier. Things were a little bit different then, and it was easier. There's a company over there that like specialized in boat moving.
Yep.
Most of them they send to Hawaii, but they had a really good relationship. So the guy was like, I got you. And he set it up, and we just did one from Long Beach, and it went straight to Samoa.
Oh, great.
Yeah, because Samoa gets a lot of stuff from Long Beach. Samoans send stuff, their relatives move overseas and they're always sending stuff back. That's like part of the deal over there. Like as you get older and you move to New Zealand or whatever, you take care of your family. So they're always sending containers. So there's a demand from Long Beach to over there. So it wasn't too hard then, but then getting it out was, and actually we had to cut the tower off in Fiji. So we cut the tower and put the tower inside the cockpit there. Took the chair out.
Did you cut it all the way off, or where'd you cut it?
No, we cut it like just at the top, just at the bridge top right there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, pretty much though, for
the
most part. So then we took that off, and then finally, it took forever to get the damn thing here. Finally shows up. Me and Joe are at the dock. We're all excited. We've been here for a while now and fished on other guys' boats and stuff. We're just ready.
Chomping.
Right? Yeah. And so we're standing there and we're with their representative who's like, okay, I'm going to help you guys with this.
Is this Honolulu Harbor?
Honolulu.
Honolulu.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
So what they're going to do is, they lifted it up with straps and then they're going to put it in the water. Right. So they lift it up off the cradle, and this is freaking high up, and it starts swinging, and we're like, oh my God. And it starts swinging more, and it starts like snapping. And then all the guys underneath, right, they had like big ropes tied to it to try and keep it from swinging.
Yeah.
Swinging so much, it's throwing these guys off the ropes. They all fucking take off.
Oh, great.
And they all take off, and they're running, and the boat's like swinging, shit's falling out of the boat. And the guy, the representative, he looks at me, he goes, he's like, grab your phone, guys, and start filming. He's like, you're going to want this for your insurance. Like they're like, basically like your boat's going to fall out of the slings.
Oh my God.
And you're going to lose this boat on the hard. And
you fucking, that's not what you want to hear.
And meanwhile, all the longshoremen, everybody on the thing are hiding behind cars. They run past us and they're hiding behind cars and stuff. And we're even kind of hiding behind a car. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, is this really fucking happening?
What caused that to happen? Was it just the wind or a combination?
They said
of things?
The guy in the crane, they don't move boats very often, apparently. And the guy in the crane wasn't familiar, and he screwed up. That's all it was. But somehow it didn't hit, and it just slowly started to get itself. He got it kind of low, and it was like snapping back, and it was slowly, which did a bunch of damage to the boat, actually. And I had to file an insurance claim and get it fixed after that. But they got it into the water. And then we went to the Honolulu boat, one of the boat yards there. which was a nightmare. And
yeah, all the boatyards over there are a nightmare.
oh my God, I thought it was bad here.
Nope, that's why people from Oahu bring their boat here, dude. It's terrible over there.
It was crazy.
Turn your head and cough.
Oh, it was so bad. So we ended up just getting it fixed enough so we could get to Kona, brought it here, and then pulled it out, did a bunch of work on the boat. And it was just such a process, man. I honestly and the funny thing was, I think by the time we got it here and the money we spent and everything, like there was a 37 Merit that went for sale, like right when the boat got here, and it would have cost us less if we just bought that boat.
Then,
but it was a situation where I couldn't sell the boat,
right. You're stuck kind of. Yeah. So
that was that. Then
that's how boats work too, man.
Yeah.
That's boat shit's always like that.
Yeah.
Always.
It's just funny, but we got it here and put the boat in and started catching fish right away. And then we stopped catching fish and things were weird. And we pulled the boat out again and realized we had all kinds of issues and alignment issues and had to fix that.
And that was all caused from the fucked up
delivery. It was
all
caused from the delivery. And they bent a strut a little bit. And there was just a bunch of different things that happened. And so we fixed it. But
how much of that did insurance cover? Or was that another typical go fuck yourself?
That wasn't too bad, right? Because actually, you ever work with that guy, Ron Batista? He's like a surveyor out of Hilo. He passed away.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. He actually surveyed my first boat.
Okay.
He was a decent guy.
Yeah, he was a good dude. And he saw, and he was like, look, he's like, these guys are going to try and screw you. He's like, they totally messed it up. And he went in and took pictures of like cracks in the woods and all kinds of things and was like, they crushed your boat. This happened. So we had to fight it. And we did have to fight it though. But he recommended that they pay us the full thing.
That's good.
And they did pay most of it. I mean, I think I had to pay the deductible, right? Which, gosh, I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't cheap. But the work that it paid for was super expensive. So it was great to get that just fixed. And in hindsight, like I learned a lot about boats and trying to make them sound right and all the little things. And while we were stuck in the yard trying to fix it. So I kind of picked up a few little things through that and there it was. And now I'm in Hawaii.
Well, one thing you kind of yada over, you didn't even mention, you did end up catching that big fish in Samoa you were after. So we should probably hear that story.
Yeah. So I did catch a grander in Samoa and I did see some really big fish when I was there. And then right when I was leaving, I was like kind of starting to figure the place out more. And just I was young, I'm still learning, but I was learning a lot more then. I was just like really kind of more learning about how to target bigger fish and stuff. And so my last year there, I saw a lot of big fish, but yeah, the biggest one we got was actually on my IGFA scale. It was 1035. That was the IGFA representative for Samoa. But then on their scale, because I wanted to make it a national record, on their scale, it was 1025. So we went with 1025. But
but that must have been time later or something, right? Like, would you have to move it around to get there?
Yeah, we had to move it around, and then their scale was a joke. They didn't have a hanging scale that could hold a fish that big. So we put it on. They had like a floor, like a flat scale.
Yeah,
the commercial fishermen used to put their totes on.
So the tail was touching.
They laid on it.
Yeah,
and I have a picture of it. It's hilarious. They put a tote on it.
Yeah,
and then they put the fish on top of the tote. And then they weighed it. And I don't know. I mean, they weren't exactly some of these older fishermen, they weren't exactly stoked that I'd come in and just caught this grander. Right. And then
is it still the record?
It's still the record.
Have they caught anything close since?
No,
not even close.
Not even close. I unless somebody goes down there with a proper operation, I don't see it happening, but you never know, right? They're there. They're definitely there. There's big fish there. It's just, they're not prepared. They don't really know what to do. And a lot of times what happens, the fish will just die on them and they can't lift it and they'll break it off.
Because they're using all shitty tackle and everything.
Or they'll get spooled, or they'll just break it off.
Right? Is there any guys still hand lining down there?
Yeah, a lot of guys hand line. Yeah, but they're more doing akus and stuff like that, like right off the reef. And every once in a while, Marlin will grab an aku, but then it's going.
See it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's an interesting story. That was kind of on a day. So we had a cyclone come through Samoa, and this is a 43 Cabo I was running. And the harbor there is like totally exposed to north swell. And so the north swell, before the cyclone had hit us, right? Cyclone is the same as a hurricane, just in that southern hemisphere. We started getting these huge north swells coming through the harbor. It was like destroying the harbor, breaking the harbor to pieces. We were ripping cleats out of the dock. I had the boat tied to pole, like concrete poles, all kinds of things. And it was like, okay, like this is bad. Like, and then the harbor master came down and he was like, you need to get the boat out of here. He's like, or, he's like, if you leave it, he's like, you may be liable for the harbor, if you break stuff on the dock. And I just kind of laughed at the guy. Thought it was funny. And so I called my insurance company and said, hey, what do I do here? Like, if I leave this boat here, chances are it's gone. Right. He said, well, all we can tell you is do the best you can. And then my buddy Ian's an older guy, and he's been a commercial longliner over there for a long time. And he said, hey, let's just take the thing out. The cyclone's not here yet, right? It's just huge swells. And we'll take it around to the corner, go inside the reef there, and anchor up and just wait out this hurricane inside. It's a big lagoon you can get, and it's probably 8-mile or 9-mile run, maybe around to the corner there, maybe a bit farther, but I was like, all right, screw it, and I had a bad feeling. It was just, I'd never seen the ocean look like that before. And so we went out, and it was just disgusting out there. But luckily the wind hadn't picked up yet, but it was just the biggest swells I've ever seen in my life. It was just
angry.
Oh, it was just terrifying, like huge swells. And we get around the corner, and we go over this coral head that, there's not a lot of things marked there really. Right. And there's never been a swell that big there on that north side really. So we're going over this coral head that I never knew would actually break as a breaking wave. And it's super deep. Right. And next thing you know, we're basically almost about to surf down like a 15-20 foot wave. And I'm like, what the, it's not breaking top to bottom, but it's steep enough that we're catching this now. And we're like plowing in, and I'm like, at any minute, we're just going to catch and flip this boat or whatever. Like it's going to be bad. And we're freaking out. I had my wife at the time and her dad were downstairs.
Oh, you had the whole family.
Oh, they all were coming along.
She were going to kill everybody.
Yeah, she wouldn't let me go. She wouldn't let me go alone because she was so freaked out. And then her dad was like, well, I'm not going to let you go alone. So they were all on the boat. Me and Ian are up in the bridge. And I take the boat out of forward, and I just like bumped it into reverse to try and slow us down. And when that happened, the wave kind of broke and it hit the back of the boat, and it pushed so much force up the exhaust pipe on one of the engines. It pushed water into the engine.
Wow.
Which, I mean, that's
did it hydrolock it?
Yeah. Well, what happened, right? So then we were able to get the bow up a little bit and not eat shit. And then we're sitting there, and there's another one coming. And I go to motor out and try and get the hell out of there, right? Because we're like in the worst place possible. And the starboard engine just blows up. Just and just black smoke. And so luckily the port was good. I just slammed the port engine. We went around, and then it's like 4 p.m, right? It's getting late. And I'm thinking, like, if we
and lucky you can even navigate it. Some boats are worthless. Some of the twin screw boats with one engine are worthless. So.
Yeah, I mean it was garbage, but we put out like a distress signal. There were a bunch of commercial boats that went out to sea to leave the harbor, and they were just going to ride it out offshore, I guess. And then we just putted into that reef pass that I was talking about on one engine, anchored up, and then we just took a beating for like 4 days from the cyclone. And by the time I got a mechanic to look at it, he's like, yeah, the engine's destroyed, So my insurance covered it though. And I brought the boat on the one engine over to American Samoa, and it was MAN engines, and they sent a brand new MAN engine in a container to American Samoa, paid for the whole thing, and sent 2 mechanics over, and they put a brand new engine in. And the guys were really cool. They like kind of did a couple extra things for me, and so I had this brand new engine, and they did a little bit of work on the port engine, which was great. So
that's a positive insurance story there. Then so not
it was a good one, and I ended up I used that insurance company for a while, and it was a company out of London, I think, or England, and the guy was super nice, but he passed away, and then now I'm. They're not really doing boats anymore, but
it's a bummer.
They did some good stuff for me then. And well, anyways, what I was getting to was when we got the boat back, we had to then take it and get it surveyed. They wanted a survey with the new engines, right? It's not a boat. It's not like here where they have a boatyard right there at the harbor. There's a travel lift boatyard, which is basically like a railway system that you go and freaking tie up to, and then the railway pulls the boat out of the water, and it's meant for all the commercial boats, and it's around the other corner of the island. and that's a whole nightmare in itself. But so we had to go there to pull the boat out. I had a friend from New Jersey who was working as a surf guide for me, my buddy Sal, and we've been working really hard lately. And I was like, he loved fishing and stuff. He was like, oh man, I'd love to catch a tuna. There were a lot of big tunas around at the time. So I said, well, just come with me. I got my crew and you, and we'll troll on our way to, I got to go pull this boat out to survey it. We'll troll over there, pull the boat out, whatever. And we were hungover. We'd like partied hard the night before. We were super wasted. We didn't leave till like 10 a.m. We had a bunch of Bloody Marys. We're up there drinking a Bloody Mary, and I'm trolling the area where all these tunas were. And
are there a lot of good-looking women down there?
No, not at all. I married the only one for the most part. No, I mean there are some, but there's not a lot. Dude. It's not where you would go for that.
It's more sure. drinking with the boys.
Yeah, look, it's changing now, right? There's like backpackers and stuff that go there, and like Europeans and all kinds. People know, so it's changing, right?
Yeah, so opportunity is growing.
Yeah, but a lot of the local girls, yeah, it's probably more trouble than it's worth. You're getting involved with an entire family if you're doing that, but yeah.
Well, I mean, whereas a lot of the girls in the United States don't have family at all, so it's a lot easier. But anyways, yes, go on.
Yeah. So we're trolling through these tuna schools, and this freaking monster piles on my teeth. Pull it still, and he comes up on it. Doesn't eat it though. Just kind of looks at it, and I'm thinking, oh my god, that's a big fish, right? And then it eats the right short, and it was just an absolute explosion. And my buddy's like, oh, is that a tuna? And I'm like, no, it's not a tuna. You better get in the chair. He gets in the chair, and the fish eats it.
So just two of you guys?
It was hit. No, I had my local crew.
Oh, okay. All right.
Who had only just started teaching how to wire fish, and he'd only wired a few fish at this point.
Oh, awesome.
I mean, a few, but they were decent sized ones. The one he wired right before the grander was like 5'11".
Oh.
Which funnily enough was the record. We got that.
That was the record before?
Yeah.
So was like smashed the record.
Yeah, exactly. Well, prior to that, it was like 400 pounds or something, right? So we got the 5'11", and then
then doubled it.
1025, yeah. So the thing eats, right, and comes out. Well, actually, it eats and it really doesn't do anything exciting. It just slow take. We clear everything, just barely taking line. And then it realized something was up. It came up jumping, and I was like, oh, that's a big fish. I thought it was like 800 pounds, I thought it was like 800, 850, somewhere around that. So I never pulled flying gaffs out. I had a tag stick ready. It's just like, let's catch this thing, tag it, let it go. Like, caught a 500 pounder. We have the record. Why am I going to kill an 800 pounder? I needed to get to that. And
you're hungover.
I'm hungover, and I needed to get to that dry dock. And, anyways, the fish is a pain in the ass. It fights super hard. This entire time, all I've had is a Bloody Mary, and we've we weren't prepared, right? So we
no
finally,
water on the boat.
Yeah, and so we finally get this thing to the boat, and my crew is going to grab the leader, and I look at it, and I'm like, that thing's bigger than 800. I'm like, oh my god, and no gaffs, nothing, right? Luckily, the thing came up like pretty much shot. It wasn't like it was like paddling away and all. It was pretty shot, right? So he's taking wraps on it coming up, and I'm like, what am I gonna do, right? And I had all my straight gaffs out, so I just ran down and straight gaffed the thing, pulled it to the side of the boat, and then we just threw a rope around the bill, and then we grabbed put a rope around the tail and just like secured it, and we're like, okay, yeah, this thing's big. Let's bring it back and see what it weighs, and then the door in the Cabo. This is a real flaw with the freaking Cabo sport fishing boats. You can't get a big fish through that door. It wouldn't go through the door. But not only that, the water level is like here, and the door entrance is you have about that much of a gap between where the water is and where the door is. Ugh. So you have to pull the fish up and in, right? Like on the Merritt, the door comes straight down. It's like
you can slide it right up.
Right? You can slide it. And then they have this bracket for a swim step, which kept sticking on the fish and cutting on its face as we're trying to pull it through. And then, so what I did, ended up put a rope around its gill, like through its mouth, through its gill plate, and then ran up to the side of the boat. I had an electric anchor windlass, and I hooked it up to the anchor windlass, and I started trying to have that pull to help us pull it. And it kept tripping the breaker on the anchor windlass. And at that point I was like, all I'd had was like one Bloody Mary. We've been in the sun all day. It's like late in the afternoon. I'm like, let's just let this thing float to the bottom of the ocean. I didn't think it was a grander. I was like, maybe it's not, it was a big fish, but I didn't think it was a grander, right? I was just, for me to catch a grander, it was like such a dream of mine. I was just like, I don't know, I don't know if this is how it happens, right?
No, this is how it sounds like it happens.
So eventually I'm just like, fuck it. Let's just tie it to the back of the boat and drive back in. And so we tied it to the back of the boat and we brought it in. And there's a cool video. I actually found it the other day, the video of us hanging it up. And when we realized it was 1,000-pounder. And we pulled it up and everybody's around and freaking, 10:35. And that was unreal.
Epic.
Yeah, it was definitely the highlight of my fishing career.
Now, is that something like in Samoa, like where the village would eat it?
Yeah, I sent the whole fish to the village of Salani. So I rented a crane truck, and they came in and they took it after we'd weighed it, and they put it on the back of their crane truck. And because we're on the other side, the harbor's on the north side,
okay.
Salani's on the south side, so it's like almost an hour drive. So I was like, take this to our village and drop it in the parking lot at the resort. And I just told one of the Matais there, just like a family, like a high chief for a family.
Like he called the head or something?
Yeah. Well, he's like the head of one of the families. There's several Matais and there's a high chief. And
okay.
The Matais kind of report to the high chief, but they're, so anyways, I said, look, hey, keep an eye on this. Tell everyone, take whatever they want. Give the head to the high chief. That's like a very, like, that's something you do. It's an honor thing. You give them the head. They love the head. So
wait, slow down. Like, so the head is the most desired piece?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Even on a marlin?
Fish, yeah.
Really?
They love it. Yeah. I don't know what they're eating out of it. The cheek or something. I don't know.
Well,
yeah, I think it goes because
they make stock out of it or something. They make like soup and stuff.
They probably do, and they probably I mean, something that big, I don't know, but I know they fry a lot of the fish heads, and then they'll just like pick at it. Just eat
it's
it.
crazy to think that is the highest.
That's what they wanted. Yeah.
You think about all the big marlin heads that come into Kona, they get kicked in the harbor for the tiger shark.
Yeah. It's actually, I have a funny story about that. I had a guy from Samoa come visit me and fish with me here, but that's I'll tell you that later. But so we said, take the head, give it to the high chief. I just want the bill. Still have the bill. It's in my house on the wall. And they dropped it in the parking lot. We went out and partied. I came back and there was like, they cleaned it up.
So the following day, you were a real piece of shit then.
Yeah, I was terrible. And then the next day I had to take the boat and get it surveyed. So I was really hungover driving the boat around the corner. I did not put any fishing lines out that day. I was like, I'm going to take a break for a little while.
Yeah, we don't need to hook any more of those things.
No, exactly. So, it was pretty amazing. I was not expecting that to be the day we caught that one. What's this thing about I had a friend that came and visit from Samoa. He's done really well. He's opened a bunch of stores. Older guy, my uncle from there, kind of like older guy that's well respected in Samoa. But he came in, he was coming for some sort of work or something he was doing, or I don't know, whatever. Anyways, he wanted to go fish one day. I'm like, jump on, let's go. And we caught a bunch of spearfish, right? And we whacked them because he wanted to eat them. And then we're at the dock, like whacking him, and he's got all the heads, and a canoe club had just finished canoe racing, and he's gone up and he's been like, hey, you guys want some fish? And they're like, yeah, we love fish. And he's got just the heads, and he's bringing them up to these guys, and I see the look on their faces. He's walking up to their car, and I'm like, Seth, this isn't Samoa, dude. I'm like, these guys, it's easy for us to get good fish here. Like, they eat tuna steaks and stuff. Like, nobody wants a spearfish head. Come on, buddy.
He thought he was totally hooking him up.
I thought he was like totally hooking. And they were like looking at him like, who's this freaking guy?
Well, that's one of those cultural differences.
Yeah.
I mean, even on my boat, right? Like the Indo crew, like most of the time they want the heads and the belly more than they want the rest of it. Like, because they're making like stock out of it and soup.
Yeah.
So.
How is that? Have you eaten it the way they do it?
Okay. So I got one guy, Karubi, that makes this thing that I can't even describe how fantastic it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Amazing with the ahi. Like he puts in the belly and does the whole, like breaks the head down. Amazing. And then they do this other thing with the mai, which smells so terrible. It's hard. It's hard to get it down the throat. Like it really is. Like the mai.
I don't like mahi.
There's something about the mahi head that is just, or at least the way these guys do it.
Yeah.
It's hard to palate it because the smell is not there. Like the smell's gross. Like
it sounds nasty.
Yeah. But overall, a lot of that fish head stuff is pretty good. Like the ahi belly stuff's just incredible, man. Like it really, really is. But whatever the fuck they're doing with that mahi head,
probably not good to do.
I asked them to do that one at the dock because I don't plan on eating it. But
Yeah.
But the tuna, I'm all about the tuna. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But the mahi head,
yeah.
I'm not gonna say hard pass, but you have to be pretty hungry.
Yeah. I just don't like mahi. Yeah. It's not my favorite.
Well, that's because you're not a tourist, because it's the tourist favorite.
Yeah.
Like that's who eats that.
Oh yeah. The mahi tuna.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I love when I'm at a restaurant here and I overhear the waiter telling them they're like, well, what's a mahi taste like? And they're like, well, it's a tuna fish, but it's a white meated tuna fish. Very fair, similar to a pike. You just like hear them.
You're like, what?
You're like, well, who told you to say that? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I just had one recently at Hawaii Joe's, and like,
that place is usually pretty good.
I like that place, but
their prime ribs, man.
Prime rib is good. Yeah, I had that not too long ago too.
Yeah.
But the waitress, it was funny. She messed up like 3 times, and I was trying to be just like kind about it, So she's like, "Yeah, this is the striped marlin." She's like, she goes, "It's heavy," and I'm like, "No." I'm like, and she's like, "No." She's like, what do you mean? No. She's like, "You don't want it?" No, I'm like, "No, you're just saying it's the wrong fish."
Yeah.
I'm like, "That heavy is spearfish." She's like, oh, yeah, that's right. I always get ono confused, and I'm like, no, that's
a different one.
That's not the same fish either. She's like, oh no, she's like, it's mahi and ono. I'm like, well, those are both white fish, but no. And so she's like, oh, it's so confusing. And then she just walks away. So she never got it.
You never found out what you were actually going to get if you ordered that.
Well, that's the best part. When the fish showed up, it was ahi.
Oh.
So not only did she get everyone wrong, not only did she identify everyone wrong, it wasn't even the right fish. So it was pretty hilarious, really.
It's like, I hear that all the time here. It's funny.
Oh, well,
people don't.
What about when the catch of the day is salmon? That's one of my favorite ones. And I've had the waitress go to the extent of telling me how it was caught today. I'm like, they caught the salmon today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
You're sure they got the salmon today? Yeah, they definitely did.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, great. I'll have that.
That sounds good.
That sounds fantastic. I'll have that.
It's funny because a lot of the tourists are coming from like Alaska or Seattle or Oregon or something. They got to see that the fresh catch of salmon and be like, what the hell? Like,
Jesus, it's just like being at home.
It's like being at home. Oh, it's our oceanic. Hawaiian salmon.
Hawaiian salmon. Oh, if you tell them that, they get even more confused.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. So now you're charter fishing in Kona.
Yep.
You got your boat here. Was it always Benchmark? Was it Benchmark in Samoa too?
So it was Leilani, which was my ex-wife in Samoa. So I think that was bad luck to have the name Leilani. So I changed it. Benchmark.
I probably wouldn't keep my ex-wife's name as a boat name either.
No.
I mean, unless my boat name was like whore bag or something.
No, so it was Leilani, and we changed it. We changed it in Fiji. Changed the name to Benchmark. It had no name.
Did you even have to have like in Samoa? Did you have to have like they have to be like federally registered and everything like in the U.S.?
No, it's just like jungle rules.
Jungle rules.
Yeah,
Anything goes.
Yeah, like you have to pay taxes and stuff, but it was jungle rules for the most part. There's no like commercial permits or whatever. It was just
you can just go charter fishing.
Yeah, do whatever. I mean, really, for the most part, I guess you probably fisheries might say something eventually down the road, but no, they were. And Samoa was one of those places you could bring a box of chocolate to somebody, a high official or something, and they'll just be like, "Yeah, you're good."
Really?
Yeah, or fish. Fish is great. If you're ever going to Samoa and you go bring some fish,
you need to grease some wheels,
or bring some fish and give it to the custom agents or whatever immigration people right away. Changes things instantly.
This is good information to have.
Yeah.
This is really good information to have.
And if it's like a higher official, good chocolates and stuff are great. People love that. I mean, it's part of that thing of giving gifts, right? That's kind of a Polynesia thing anyways, right? Like giving gifts, like
bribes.
You don't show up empty-handed places, but yeah, it's kind of a bribe over there.
Well, I mean, I think that's pretty much our culture in Hawaii. I mean, I saw that they got a couple people yesterday as well.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was surprised how low those bribes were. It's like $1,000 or something.
Dude,
like, what? $1,000?
Nah, dude, I think the governor gets that like daily. I think they probably just threw someone to the wolves. They probably just gave them. Dude, come on, like, that's a whole different story. But yeah, I mean, for how little of a bribe, I'm like,
yeah, that can't.
Nah, that can't be right. No. You probably just intercepted a small portion of what really happens.
Yeah, there was probably a lot more going on.
Yeah. This is total side note, but my understanding is the new bribery is going in cryptocurrency. That's how it's done now.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be hard to trace.
That's that's
well,
only because someone recently hit me up for a bribe. That I'm going to keep the story off of the air, but that's how I know about this.
Yeah.
Well,
that makes sense. Yeah. Cryptocurrency. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so you're charter fishing here.
Yeah.
Any chance you'll ever have a boat in Samoa again? Because you still got the resort, right?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how long they keep the borders closed. It's like been 2 years now, but I'd love to have a little boat there. I would love it. I'd love to fish there. I would love to have somebody be like put a proper boat there and have me run it and just target some big ones and go out to some of the seamounts. And I've found some places out there that are just, I couldn't put a lot of time in them because I just budget and also just the range and what didn't make sense to do it all the time. But there's fantastic fishing out there. I'd love to really, I think I was really only just touching the surface.
Yep.
And I didn't even until the last few years start understanding currents and how to fish upwellings and different things. I was just kind of fishing.
So would you fish it differently today?
For sure. Yeah. Kona, I feel like I learned a lot since I've been here, especially how I feel like I learned a lot, but right. Think you figured it out. And then some guy in a, just driving a straight line catches one and you can't catch anything. But I think,
this place will humble you in that department.
Oh my God, yeah, it does. But
nothing quite like seeing a guy on a jet ski or a kayak hook up next to you too.
Or one of those rental boats.
If not the biggest marlin I've ever seen, right up there with the biggest marlin I've ever seen hooked, was behind a rental boat at VV buoy. And the people, like, they powered away from it. And I had to hunt them down and found them later. And they said, yeah, we had to drive away from it. We were just really scared. And I'm just like, oh my fucking God. Are you kidding me? Yeah, they spooled it. It was like on a Penn 113H, like those red reels.
Oh man.
And they hooked this thing. Like they gave them just enough to be dangerous. Like it piled like on a jet or something at VV buoy. And they just drove away because they didn't want anything to do with it. They spooled the whole reel.
And just died and they...
No, they didn't die. They just drove away. I mean, I'm telling you, they hooked it and they just like fucking powered away. They didn't want anything to do with it.
They catch it?
No.
Oh, they didn't catch it.
No.
Okay, they just broke it off.
They drove it. They just spooled the reel. They just drove away from it. They're afraid of it. Gone. See ya.
Well, fair enough. They probably would have got hurt.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't have ended well.
Yeah, no. It was like some dude, like he had like 2 bikini girls with him that were like, I don't know, just like some fat, sweaty guy with 2 girls in a rental boat.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best day of his life, probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. But I feel if I went back now, I would fish things differently for sure. And there's fish there. I'd like to, at the very least, I'd love to just one day set up a skiff like the guys do here. That they set them up pretty badass here. Some of the skiffs, I'd never seen that till I came here, and just go out for fun. Even just have electric reels, leave them in the rod holder.
Yep.
Try and catch a big one on one of those, or catch some tunas for the resort. Do
catch
stuff like
fish
that.
For the resort.
Yeah, you can always catch fish out there. I've never seen there's tuna piles everywhere. That's what I ended up towards the end. I started really figuring that whole. I used to use my radar to find the bird piles, which were mostly yellowfin, and then I would stay wide on the yellowfin schools. And a lot of times when I would leave a yellowfin school and start driving to the next school is when I'd get bit, and it'd be a nice marlin.
So the marlin would be on the outskirts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they were inside the tuna schools, but they just didn't want anything to do with me because I'm pulling lures through the tuna schools. I didn't live bait a lot there. But as soon as I'd get out wide of those tuna schools is when I'd get hammered by fish. So that's all I would do. I'd mark them. I mean, I'd go to spots I knew like structure and stuff, but then I'd use my radar to find the bird piles, and I'd just kind of stay wide of them and work there.
They have porpoise schools down there?
I never saw any. There might be some way out wide, but I never really needed to go far,
Right.
far out wide. Everything was in there. But again, like I would look at things a little differently after seeing how some people fish here for sure. I don't think you'd even need to do that though. If you want to catch tunas, it's
that easy.
It's that easy. I mean, I don't know if it's changed over the last few years, but for the most part, it's easy. They're not huge. Like I feel like it's like here, but you're
the only guy in town.
But you're the only one around, and the schools, they're like frothing on the surface.
All right, so it sounds like the tuna fishing is better there.
Yeah, it's better there. I don't think you get as many big ones. Like
Right.
120 pounder is about right. That's about normal.
That's an average.
Or that's like a nicer sized one, right? The
Well,
biggest one I got was 170 there.
Well, those are great yellow.
So those are good, yeah.
See any
yeah,
big guy like that too? Or is it all yellows?
I'm sure there's big guys. I never call it a big guy though.
Yeah.
And there's tons of shibis and akus and all that kind of stuff.
You ever try fishing at night?
I did a few times. We were trying to do sword fishing, and we just caught a bunch of sharks.
Oh yeah, a lot of sharks. Or
I
just
didn't
some?
think so, but they're around. I don't think there's as many here. I seen one tiger shark the whole time I was there. That was it. The rest just reef sharks.
Was that in shallow or out fishing?
Yeah, I was out surfing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it didn't bother me or anything. I just
But not at your resort.
Yeah.
not even close to your resort.
Yeah, no, totally different wave.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
It was at my competitor's resort.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was down the coast. Yeah, there's sharks there, but they're probably so well fed. I don't know.
There's fucking sharks everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
That's the thing.
There's a lot here.
Yeah. What do you think? You think that shark attack at Banyan's? You think that was a great white?
I don't know. I mean, there's a good chance, I guess. They've been around. Someone had saw one at what's that? Up north off the cages or somewhere like that. Or a diver at someone.
Yeah, Darren. The same day I saw one on the cross same exact day.
So they're around. And we had one. I don't know if it was a great white or just a huge mako. It was like maybe a week before that. I was trolling. We were passing like Old A's kind of area off Kaiwi. And we had just an absolute animal, like just sky on our short rigger.
Oh, really?
Like not like he was trying to eat it. He just jumped, but it didn't makos. I feel like they jump and flip, right? This thing just like porpoise, like went, it came down. I didn't see the first jump, but Darren did, and he was like, "Wow, holy shit!" And I just saw the splash, and I looked back, and it did it 2 more times, and everybody saw it. My charter, everyone. And
the hell was that thing doing?
It was huge, man. I don't know. I think it was a white because it's like pecks out. It was a huge fat white belly, and it just like porpoise, and that was it, and it disappeared.
You think do you think it was having a go, or do you think like just one of those random things, or did you rub it or something? Was it just crazy?
I don't know. Maybe. Well, I got Darren, I guess, talked to that diver and was telling him about the experience, and they thought that fish was chasing something that was in our spread. Like maybe there was a marlin in our spread, and he was
having a fucking go at it.
Having a go at it or something. I don't know. I didn't see any marlin. All I saw was that thing just porpoise. And then I pull those.
Well,
I've been pulling those fucking the mud flaps are like this big with a big lure in front of it.
God, you just are waiting to get
both
it.
sides. And I was just like, I better pull these things in. I was like, but then it would be so cool to see that too.
Oh, it'd be super cool to see it.
I never saw the animal again. I don't know. And it could have just been like an 800-pound mako. I don't know, but we kind of thought it was
pretty awesome.
But it was cool. I wish I got it on video. It happened so quick though.
Well, it's funny what you're saying about the possibility that it was just stalking something in your spread.
Yeah.
Because one time in the middle of nowhere, like 55 miles out, we get bit. We get a spearfish on. I mean, there's nothing around.
Yeah.
Nothing. And as I'm cranking it to the boat, I'm just like, that's a spearfish. Boom! This fucking mako comes in, biggest mako I've ever seen in Hawaii, and smokes this thing in half. And I'm like, where the hell did that come from?
Oh,
man. So obviously, like that thing had been waiting for it to fuck up or whatever.
Yeah, following it around.
Yeah, I was waiting for it to make a mistake. But as soon as we hooked it, like, I was like lackadaisically just cranking in this spearfish, and the thing got smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
So,
I mean, the marlin probably do that too. They
stalk what they're feeding.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you see it on the mount all the time.
Well, that's what I was thinking, like when you were saying about in Samoa with the tuna piles, right? Like we see that on the mountain all the time. So that like you've got the big ball of fish, and then the marlin are off to the side. Yeah. Like it's not like they're constantly engaging.
In the middle, right? Yeah.
Right. It's more like they're on the outside waiting for something to mess up or waiting to engage it.
Yeah.
I think that's part of their strategy, actually. I think they let things get comfortable And then when something's complacent is when.
Yeah, I mean, it's like all kinds of predators, and you think about it, lions and stuff, they just kind of sit there and wait. And
Yeah.
fucking pick one off.
Yeah.
Or wolves or whatever. But yeah, I think that's what they're doing. But I would see guys going and just trolling around those schools and never getting bit. And it's like, what's happening here? And then you'd leave.
And then you leave and you got it on.
Yeah. So that's got to be what's happening.
I call it the ex-girlfriend bite out on the mountain all the time. Like you are like so sick of a school pile. Like you're sick of this pile. You've been working so hard to make this pile happy. It won't bite, won't happen, won't bite. Just you can't get it to do anything.
Yeah.
And then you're like, fuck it, I'm leaving. And then when you're like, no, come back, hold on.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. No,
that's
going.
So true, isn't it? Yeah.
That's why I call it the ex-girlfriend pile.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Well, like it kind of is, right? It's like when you just say fuck it, then all of a sudden they're like, no, I want you back.
Yeah. That's pretty true.
I have a lot of time to think on the mountain.
Yeah,
it's not all good. It's not.
Yeah, that's definitely true with fishing. Well, a lot of time to think.
Way too much time sometimes.
Yeah.
That could be a real problem.
Yeah, it can. If the fishing's slow, you start really getting in your head.
Oh, dude, what else is there?
Yeah,
you can only rip apart what you're pulling for so many hours.
Yeah,
and then it's like,
now what?
Then those eyes that were on the spread, they start looking back on yourself internally. Those are the worst moments. Probably.
Oh, they are, dude.
And then hopefully a fish is going to take you out of it.
Yeah. Right at the worst time.
Yeah. Oh, thank God.
Oh, it's a good day now.
How funny is fishing? Like, how many times have you just been like, fuck this? You know what?
Yeah.
Or like, it's when you finally say, you know what? I think I'm ready to do a different fishery. And then it's like, boom. It's the best ever. Yeah. And you forget about it. Like, that's
I feel like that's Kona for me. I get to you'll get to like that low point or something, and then it'll be like an absolute giant piles on or something, worth it. And you're like, wow, this place.
Yeah. And then you get sucked back in.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. That is the real like vicious cycle of fishing.
Yeah.
Every time you think you're going into another fishery, it sucks you right back in.
Yeah. And you'll go on like a little run and be like, this is awesome. You'll be all stoked.
It's the best place in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And then it changes.
Yeah. Well, fishing is humbling, especially marlin fishing. I don't think there's any place that I know there's no place I've ever been that's more humbling than Kona, Hawaii, because it will give you these runs where you just think like I can do no wrong. And then it will give you runs where no matter what you do, you can do no right. You can't you can't figure out what's different. You're ripping through your boat, like checking everything, every wire.
Oh yeah.
And then you go out on an afternoon half and you hook a big one and you're like, well, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I know this place will drive you crazy, man. It's like a spectator sport sometimes. You just watch other people. Oh, dude. Or you'll be like
the bridesmaid. Nothing's worse than the bridesmaid, dude.
You know what's the worst is when you have a shitty day and you come in and one of those dive boats is hanging like a 500-pounder and your charter's like, what is that? Wow, that thing's huge. What is that? And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
What's that? What are all those red? What's that blue and like those 7 red flags underneath it on the Sea Wife? What is that?
Oh yeah. We went Well, we went snorkeling. We drove down to Captain Cook today and we caught this fish, but after fighting it for 3 hours, it died. So we figured better bring it back. And it was $7.40.
It was $7.40.
Yeah,
waste of time. All we wanted was a mahi.
Yeah. Do you guys know anyone who will take this? Can you guys do anything with this?
It's so crazy. Yeah. Sometimes people they don't know. They just their expectations, and then they get one and they don't even understand. Like that's a big freaking deal. And it's when Dave caught Diamond Dave when they caught that huge black marlin. What was that? It was like 900 something or whatever.
Yeah.
And we saw him weighing it when we were coming in, and we were like, yeah, like it looked like it might go right. They were just starting to pull it up, and we get back and we're tied up and we're cleaning the boat and they're driving past and we're like, what did it weigh? And the charter's all down there and the charter's like, 9, whatever. And they were like, oh, they look all bummed out.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, 900. And we're like, yeah, fuck, that's awesome. He goes, fucking waste of time. Cat food.
Yeah.
It's like cat food. Nothing we can do with that thing. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, do you know what? How many appreciative people and like really good people I've had like spend thousands and tens of thousands of dollars to just catch
to even see one.
To see one. And these guys just stumbled on one. They're like, we just wanted a mahi for dinner.
Oh,
Like,
I know.
dude,
I mean, I may have even
for
told.
real.
I don't know. I may have even told this story on this podcast already. I don't know because I'm getting old, and also because you know how you start repeating yourself. But
Yeah,
I had a very similar story with Brandon Bradford, D. Bradford's son on the High Noon. We get a half day charter, and they just want something to eat. So I said, okay, we got the high tide. We're going to pound out Ono Lane, right? We run Ono Lane. There'd been a few around, but not many, you know.
Yeah.
We had all the small stuff out, and we are 3 hours and like 15 minutes into Ono Lane on a 4-hour trip. And we're like, hey, what do you guys think? We try maybe going out a little bit deeper. This isn't working. I'm like, I know you really want something to eat, but we're pounding it here and it's just not happening.
Yeah.
There's been a few bites out on the outside. What do you guys think we try doing that? Right. Same thing. We go out. Like, I think we're out there for maybe 15 minutes, like get on the 500, got her on, jumping around. Not a huge one. In fact, we tried to tag it.
Yeah.
And the guy really, really struggled in the chair. And this is the ironic thing, right? So after all that talk, like the guy can barely turn the handle.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like a 45-minute fight. But the fish just came up dead. Like, we tagged it. We tried to revive it. We let it go, floated up. We grabbed it again. We pulled it, let it go. Right. So we ended up, I'm like, and it's just stuffed. It's not even a mud dart. It's just done. And so I said, well, we're going to take this fish because, you know, you guys, I'm just not going to waste this fish. Right. So we slide it in, we weigh it. It was like 489 or something. Not, you know, a nice fish, not giant, but we get back. And the people are so upset. They're not even smiling in the photo. I wish I had the photo around here somewhere.
Yeah.
But I probably do. I mean, I do. Me and Brandon are smiling, and they're not smiling. It's his father and son, and they're just like pouty face.
Yeah.
Like, we wanted something to eat. I'm like, well, you can eat a piece of marlin. They're like, I don't want to eat marlin. I'm like, well, I mean, I'm like, a lot of people would be really excited about this.
They caught a marlin, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, a lot of people would be really excited. They're like, well, we're not. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with these people, right? So you can't make them happy. So we leave the fish there hanging. They don't want a piece of it or anything. We go and dock, and we go in the back slip. And there's a couple other boats that are coming off half days, and the charters were still there having like beers with like behind Will Lasby's boat, my last guest, and Neil Isaac, rest in peace. And, the charters came up to me and they're like, congratulations, great catch. And they're like, congratulations for what? They're like, for catching that marlin. They're like, you can't even eat it. I'm just like, oh my God.
I just don't get it.
So they get off the boat, they leave, and Brandon's like, how do we do? I'm like, they stiffed us, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, what? I'm like, they totally stiffed us, didn't give us a tip, because they wanted something to eat or whatever. The lady that was the charter on the Anxious. Okay. Yeah. They were on a 7-day charter. They had not caught a marlin that they had like 3 on.
Yep.
But hadn't caught one on a 7-day charter. The lady came over and tipped me and Brandon each $60 just because she overheard our conversation. She's like, we've been trying so hard. Yeah. Those are the people, but those are the people we want.
Screwed sometimes.
Yeah, they're the
nicest people.
The lady tipped us, and she wasn't even on the boat.
Yeah,
she's like, we've been trying for 7 days for one of those.
Yeah,
like, oh my God,
they just don't get it.
Yeah,
it's that's tough, man. You get people, maybe they fish. The only other time they fish is maybe like Alaska or something.
Yeah.
And they show up and they tell you that, we went fishing one time, and we went to Alaska and did a few days there.
Caught 7,000 pounds.
Yeah, they're like, oh no. And they're like, well, where's your processing place for us to take all the coolers back when we leave? And you're like, oh goodness, here we go.
Yeah. Oh, I got another one of those stories too.
Or a Cabo, that's a classic. I caught plenty of marlin. We went to Cabo. We caught like 15.
Do you remember? Were you with me when we finally had how they always get the Cabo story? And then I finally had the charter where the guy bust out the picture, and he really did. I ever? How you always get.
I think you told me, and it was actually a big fish.
It was not. Yeah, it was not even just one fish. It was 2. Yeah. It was a picture of this guy, and I'm like, this must be the best day ever in Cabo, because how they're always like, yeah, we caught like an 800, or the guy's like, my wife caught like a 700, and I caught like an 800. And then when they got the picture they were wrong. They were even bigger. One was like 820 or something, and one was like 9 something. On the same day, it's like his wife, like in a hot bikini, like way back in the day, and him. And I'm like, these are really the people of all the stories. So it was like they had like an 8 and 9. I'm like,
that's unheard of.
It was like ridiculous.
Crazy, especially in Cabo. Those fish are small.
I mean,
that's
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it when the guy came down. I'm just like, I've heard so many Cabo stories. I'm like, this is him. This is the actual guy.
This is the one.
This is the story that everybody uses. This is the real guy right here. This is the guy they all model their story based on.
I like the one Joe always tells about. The guy said he caught a 3,000 pound. I caught 3,000 pounds. I fed a whole village.
Yeah. What are you going to do? You can't even, it wasn't like the guy said it was close to 3,000. You can't even argue with him. It's just straight up. He caught a 3,000 pounder in Cabo.
Well, he's happy. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the customer's always right. 3,000? Sure.
Okay.
They even mounted it for me.
Big thing. A big thing. I wish he was over here. That'd be a good story.
We'll have to get all three of us on the podcast.
That'd be good. We'll have to have some drinks when we do that.
It's kind of a bummer actually. So far, I've got the rig set up. I do 3 guests or 2 guests at a time, and I've yet to pull that off.
Oh, really?
Well, I've just been kind of shot, honestly. Like, you know, I just between struggling fishing, single dad, and everything else.
A lot going on.
Yeah, I'm doing my best. I'm some days it's a struggle just to clean the house, but anyway.
That's why it's Christmas tree stuff.
That's why that Christmas, that's why the Christmas tree is part of the studio's decoration still.
At this point, just hold on to it till next year. Dude.
Well, I think that's what my neighbors do with the Christmas lights.
Why not?
I don't know if you've noticed that. That seems to be a pretty common thing over here.
Most of the people in my street do that too. Yeah.
Why take the Christmas trees down? Why take the lights down? You're going to need them next year.
And you can use them 3 times out of the year. You can use them on the 4th of July. You can use them on Halloween, and then you can use them on Christmas.
Right. And then sometimes if you have the white lights, you can just be like, oh, it's festive.
Put them on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's festive.
Yep. That's smart.
Yeah. A lot of people rock them that way. So we'll just get off my bad parenting and life skills right now. What's going on with this? So you got your charter operation here. Let's tell everyone what that is. So in case they want to go with you sober.
Yeah. It's, check
or
out.
Or not.
The website is grandermarlin.com and or the Instagram page is grandermarlin. And yeah, we same 37 merit we've been talking about. I mainly am fishing for billfish. I'm straight up with people. If you call me and ask me questions, I'm totally honest with you. I don't do half days or 3/4. I do either a full day or a 10-hour. And if you want to come out and try and catch a marlin, hit me up. And I'm just,
I mean, that's honest dope right there. I think that's straight up.
I don't want to waste people's time. I don't want to waste my own time. And that's how it is.
I think that's really good. I mean, and you're right off the bat, you're showing people the actual commitment of time that it takes. Cause like, we always said in the industry, you can do it, but like a half day is a half try. And it's even less than, I mean.
I'm sure you could catch one on a half day.
Oh, you do.
You
do catch them on half days.
Unlikely.
But you're just like, when you're picking a half day, you're basically saying it's the difference between, I want to take the kids horseback riding today or going fishing. You're not really giving yourself a fair try.
Exactly. Yeah. If you want to do it, just do it right. Right. I mean, that's the way I think about it. I mean, there's different charters for different people. You know, when I first got here, I needed to get people on the boat. And a lot of those people they just want to catch a mahi or a shibi or something like that. And
you were miserable.
I was miserable. and it's not good for anyone. It's not good for me. It's not good for the experience of my charters. It's not what my skills are either. Like my entire life, I've chased billfish. So why am I going to all of a sudden switch and try and catch amberjack? You know, like I'm not going to give you the right. There's guys here that are great at catching amberjack. You know, Go fish with them. So I eventually just realized, like, look, just play to your strengths, and then you get the right people that want to actually do it. And like I said, I'm just straight up. If someone calls me and they're like, well, I got 5 kids I'm going to bring. They're all, you know, between 6 and 8 or whatever, you know. And I'm like, well,
wrong boat.
Oh, yeah, you can bring them, but we're fishing for billfish, you know. Hopefully they're patient. So I just kind of, we don't make enough money out of this to be miserable out there. and there's some guys that they love to just go catch fish.
Right.
And there's captains, and I'll recommend them. I'm not weird about that. I'll be like, you want to catch call this guy, or you want to go
bottom fishing?
Yeah,
right.
Call this guy. And they enjoy it and they love it and they're stoked. That's their thing.
Right.
And that's not my thing. So it is what it is. And the funny thing too about Kona is I'll get a lot of people that are like, well, we just want to go and fill the cooler with mahi. And it's like, this isn't like some of the other islands. The mahi fishing here is terrible for the most part, unless you have your buoy or something, or unless you find something floating
special.
out there, special. It's not like we're going to go out there and troll and catch a bunch of mahis in the blind or something. So, yeah, but that's the deal. If you want to come in and catch a marlin and try and get a big one, hit me up.
Yep. Well, you're the man for that. So without a doubt. How's fishing been this year, by the way? I saw a big one on your page not too long ago.
Yeah, it's been good for the winter. I haven't fished a whole bunch since end of December, so I've just been kind of getting caught up on stuff because I know I'll hit it hard in the spring and the summer, and I'll be slammed. So I've just been kind of taking time. But in December, we saw a bunch of them. We caught. I feel like we got 3 over 500 in December. And I only fished a few days. Oh. So, I mean, it was weird. Every time we'd go out, it'd be like, what? There's another nice one. I feel like, oh, there's another. Like,
one was pretty big too, wasn't? Did you get like 800
Yeah,
pounder?
we got one that was, I think we called it 7 something or other.
Oh, okay.
It was big.
Okay.
It was a big fish. I didn't measure or anything. It was a big one. And then the biggest one I got though this year was in the fall with Brad, with Bayou Brad as my crew, and that thing was big, man. Did you meet the Bayou Brad? He was my crew after JJ left. Bayou Brad.
I don't know if I met him.
Bayou Brad. Bayou, like the Bayou. He had a super southern accent from South Carolina.
How long was he around?
He was around. Well, JJ left in July, and he was around July, August, September. I think he left maybe early October, I think, or something.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He was only going to come for like a month, and then he just kept extending. And he had a great attitude, positive kid, loved doing it, and we caught fish.
Bayou?
Yeah. Bayou.
So what happened to him?
He had a full-time job on a boat over there, and then he was signing a contract with another boat, just doing like full-time salary work, traveling around and stuff. And so he ended up doing that, went back there and jumped on that whole opportunity. But yeah, he was a good kid. It was fun fishing with him.
And so who's fishing with you now? Darren?
Well, he's been filling in through the winter, helping me out. I like I said, I'm not fishing a whole bunch right now. I'll start up in the spring, and JJ's supposed to come back.
Is he?
Yeah. So if he doesn't, I'll fish with Darren, but JJ's fished me in the past, and we made a deal. I'm not going to replace him. He'll come back and fish.
So that must be good news then. That means his dad recovered or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That's all right. And
that's good. Yeah, he was
planning to come back.
He was living at my house there at one point, and I knew that. So all of a sudden he was gone, and yeah. So that's good. Is he still with Mud Cricket?
He's still with Mud Cricket.
What an amazing nickname!
I know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting story.
Yeah. Well,
Mud Cricket.
Anyway, the old Mud Cricket. Had you ever heard of a mud cricket before?
I've never heard of a mud cricket in my life. No, have you?
No, I never heard of a mud cricket before either.
I'll tell you what, he was showing us a video.
I had to Google it.
Yeah, those parties they go to, the mudding parties.
Yeah, mud cricket parties.
They look pretty lit. Like, I think we might be too old to go there, but it looked pretty lit. Like I was checking it out. Like, whoa,
we're pretty much too old to go to any party at this point.
Yeah, dude, tell me about that. Yeah, you go into like a club nowadays. It's like they're like, who's brought their dad? Like,
yeah, are you?
What's your deal?
Are you the manager here? Excuse me, sir. We have a problem with our drinks.
Could you come over to the table? You're like, no, I'm here for a good time. Like, what? Are you selling drugs?
Oh, you're kind of old to be in here, aren't you?
Kind of old. What are you?
I don't know. I don't normally date men that old unless you're rich. But are you rich?
Well, I'm rich in experience.
Yes, I can be for tonight. It depends on how stupid you are. I mean, define rich. Okay, we're going to hell.
Yeah. But, I don't know where we were at before that. But,
let's see. You were telling people about your charter.
Okay.
And we talked about mud cricket.
Yeah. JJ coming back.
JJ coming back,
Okay.
big fish. So what's the scoop? What's this new role that I see you have online here?
Oh, with GZ Lures.
Yeah. What is your official title over
Okay.
there? What are you doing? Like, what? We haven't caught up at all. What the hell are you doing over there? What is that thing?
So actually the company, they don't make lures, right? That's been a confusion. Some people have been like, oh, what's GZ lure? Like, you guys make lure, GZ lures? No,
What does GZ stand for?
I think, well, I think Cole wants to say eventually what it stands for, so I'll keep that to him to say, but it has to do with a big fish. But
GZ.
what was I going to say? Oh, so anyways, we're changing the name to GZ Tackle Company, right? So basically,
how'd you get involved with this program?
Yeah, so Cole reached out to me, right? He's been doing this for a while, and it's selling like vintage lures, and he's selling custom lures, which are a pain in the ass to get if you're trying to get them just by like contacting Koya or whoever, right? It's hard to get sometimes.
Any lure maker,
whoever it is out there, like they're busy, they're artists, they're like kind of quirky, they do their own thing,
smoking weed, blah, blah,
blah. I feel I sort of look at them also as like how surfboard shapers are. Like, I want to get a board shaped. It's really hard to do. These guys are like craftsmen, and they're like, yeah, I'll get you one. You'll get it like 3 months down the road or whatever.
You'll get it when the vibration hits them right.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
And they're always busy. Every time you call shaper, like, oh man, I'm slammed. I'll try and get this done. So anyways, he became the middleman, and he's just a really good person, Cole. So he was able to like really build a good following. He took care of people. He got back to him quickly, sent them what they wanted. If there was a mistake, he took care of it. So the business started to grow up. But
where's the business actually based?
So he's in Oklahoma. So he's not a marlin fisherman.
Oh, the great seafaring state of Oklahoma.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, they have those striped marlin over there. But no,
I'm sure someone's made that call.
But he, so he's not a marlin fisherman. So he wanted someone to kind of that's in the industry to be a part of that business. So originally he just called me, he wanted to use some photos and stuff. And then he needed some advice just on like skirt combos and just things like that. And it just started to build from there, where I was kind of helping just build the brand and helping get products too, and be like, hey, Cole, we should really get these hooks. And then, we should really get these, and we should, and we're just slowly building. I wouldn't say it's ever going to be like a Melton tackle, right? Because Melton sells like kayaks and whatever, right? But the whole plan is that company is going to sell all like big game supplies, but like the good stuff, the stuff that we would actually use. We're not going to sell stuff just because someone's like, hey, I'll give you this product. Can you sell it for me? And you can make some money off it. Like, if none of us would use it, then we're not going to use it. Right. So Cole wanted me involved in it for that part. And then from that point, I've now kind of grown to do like lure review videos. We're going to do videos with like lure makers, and just kind of expanding the business that way, and helping just promote with the sale. We have a lot of plans on where we'd like to see it go. But it's been great for me. I mean, I got involved right during COVID when the whole fishing thing just shut down, and just came along at a perfect time. And I was like, what am I going to do with my life right now? I was like right about ready to sell the whole charter operation because I didn't think anything would reopen. And then that came along, and it's just built up to where I actually can see myself making a living off this and doing that and putting time into that. And I don't want to fish every single day of my life. I just can't do it. Like I love it, but like last summer I fished, we did every day nonstop, and it's and I didn't make that much money. It's a hard way of life, so I love to do it, and I'm going to do it and focus on the good months, but I'd love to be able to make enough money that I can fish the month, like the spring, summer, maybe a little bit in the fall, do all the tournaments, fish with you and Andy and those guys in the summer. I love doing that.
Yeah.
Fish with people that actually want to do what we're doing, try and catch blue marlin and all that.
And understand how drunk you have to be to catch. Actually, understand the things you have to do on land to make bites happen out at sea. It's a lot more complicated than people realize.
Yeah, I think it is. There's a formula to that. But that's actually funny. Every time I go to Mexico, I would come back and like literally we would just go on a tear. I catch so
many fish. Oh, duh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't have to go over the details of why that works, but we all know it works.
Yeah. So anyways, the company's really cool. Yeah, check it out, gzlures.com. And I'm excited to see where it grows. And yeah, like I said, it's an opportunity for me right now, and hopefully that's something that can kind of help me do different things. Diversify a bit.
Any lure makers you're not working with? Is it like if it's stuff you're not going to pull, you're not going to sell it?
For the most part, if we're not, if it's not a lure that it's quality made and it's handmade, and
you're standing by everything.
Yeah,
Good.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, there's not a lot of companies that are doing that. Like, some will just sell whatever, right?
Right.
So it's kind of like that, and we're just got in with Marlin Magic lures. There's like a huge batch coming in, and that's really kind of cool.
You want to hear one of the worst things I just got recently hit up on? Because like I get stuff sent all the time. Now, I don't know. You'll love this. Okay. This is one of the better things I've been hit up for. So this guy's got this great idea. All right. So apparently he explored this like 10 years ago, but he didn't have the social media back then to make it happen. But he's convinced because certain boats get bit, it all comes down to the sound, right?
Yeah,
it's all in the soundtrack.
Sure.
So the guy sends me a thing. He says, I'd like to send you a CD that you can play when you're fishing.
Yeah.
It has different engine sounds. All right. And once you start catching fish while you're playing this CD and it proves that it works, you can help me market this CD so other boats can buy the same CD with this engine sound and
play it on speakers.
Yeah, right. You play it on speaker, right? And I kid you not, the guy sent me like a little sound link. It sounds like a fucking tractor, right? He's like, I think this is the sound from my research that
probably a
like
Detroit engine.
It sounds like something that would be like on Sesame Street with like, I'm like, oh my fucking God, dude. So I'm like, well, first of all, so I read him back because I don't want to be a jerk to anyone. I'm like, I read the guy back. I said, well, thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate you reaching out. I'm always looking for new fishing options and everything. But I don't own a CD player anymore. My boat is
true.
My boat is everything's like it's an MP3 player. It's all through the phone, and it's like hooked up to my Garmin, like on my thing. So like I don't even have a CD player anymore. I said if I was even going to explore this option, I would have to. And the guy wrote back and said, oh, okay, well, we're not set up for anything but CDs right now.
Huh.
I'm like,
I don't even know how you do that with a CD. I couldn't even. They sell CD burners these days still. Oh, I guess you're on a computer.
I guess. I mean, this guy.
They don't even make computers with CD drives anymore.
I mean, this guy's on the cutting edge. This guy's on the cutting edge of marlin fishermen. So like, maybe we're not up to maybe I shouldn't judge.
I mean, there's got to be some sort of sound, right, that would work. But I mean, there's so much involved in that. Good luck. I mean, that's a lot of work.
I mean, I don't even know how you could play it on your CD. Like, I don't even know how you could play. Let's say hypothetically this CD worked. Okay,
yeah.
I couldn't even play it louder than my engine, anyways.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So how the fuck is that?
But then your engine's competing with it. So
what? Then you have like 3 engines going.
If you had like an electric boat, maybe. Or,
maybe
if Tesla.
Maybe once Tesla. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe once Tesla takes over the boat industry. But,
yeah. That's probably not too far off, to be honest.
But what I was going to say is if you want, I could send you that guy's info if you're interested in maybe putting that out there.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't have a CD player either, but
we're missing it. we're missing it.
It'd be so hard to do the research on that. I mean, how would you, like you only see a few fish here and there. Like it'd be better with you, but then you're talking about tuna.
Well, I don't even know how I could hear it over my.
You have your engines going.
Like how would you ever hear that over my engine?
And then if they did hear it, it's only going to be detrimental because then it's going to sound like an unsynced engine with weird sounds. And I don't know.
Dude, the funny thing is the guy explained to me it has a whole soundtrack, and I'm just like,
yeah. I mean, he'll probably sell them. Remember the Marlin magnet? Those little.
Oh yeah, like the Mako magnet.
Yeah.
Some people swear by that thing. They must sell those. Like have you ever used one?
Yeah, I didn't notice any difference, but it's like I said, it's hard to. How do you know?
But you're not Mako fishing.
That's true. Well, they have a marlin one, and they do a tuna one too.
What?
Yeah, there's a tuna, a marlin, and a Mako. I could see with sharks it could make a difference.
I'll tell you what. If
I could see that.
If there is a tuna one, right?
I think there is.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
If that's legit, like if there was anyone who could test that,
they should reach out. I don't think they exist anymore.
That would be me. If anybody could test that sitting on top of a pile, whether that thing worked or not, it would be me. If a tuna magnet, huh?
Yeah, you should see if they'll send you one. Try it out.
Huh.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I don't.
No one sends me shit like that. They send me tractor CDs.
Yeah, I'll get some weird stuff sent to me from time to time. I'll get some cool stuff too, though, every once in a while. But yeah, I haven't gotten any tractor DVDs though, or tractor soundtracks.
Well, actually, as long as we're talking about this, if the last person who sent me a package of lures could send me a DM on what your company is again, because the lures are beautiful. I don't know who sent me them. I would love to give you a shout out.
Yeah.
I know you sent me a message on social media.
There's no name on the lure?
No.
It's just a lure.
I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone can answer this. So,
yeah.
Let me switch. Give me 1 second. I'll go grab one. They're pretty. Okay, there is a name.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there is a name. That's right. There is a name. I looked him up, but then I'm not sure. I couldn't follow him or here. Let me switch it. It's called a Bustin. Let's see.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him?
I
don't think my camera's doing it justice right now. It's
actually looks like a great mahi lure.
Well, I'm a tuna fisherman.
Yeah, they'll eat that.
You know, you're into that whole. I mean, I like catching marlin too.
That's a pretty lure, though.
Yeah, it is really pretty, right? Bustin'. And I went to send him a message back, and I blew up. I don't know. I didn't want to. I feel terrible, and I tried to figure out on Instagram. He sent me a message. Yeah. So if anyone knows who Bustin' Lure is, have him contact me again, because I tried to contact him, and the stuff is really pretty. He sent me a beautiful box of stuff, and so thank you. I appreciate it. I just please give me a DM again, so I can give you a proper thank you and everything. So, anyways, stuff's really cool. And then, what's been your
go-to lure lately? What have you been getting bit on? Marlin, I mean.
Marlin?
Yeah.
Well, I got 2 lures I've been getting bit on pretty good recently. I got the good old purple and black soft head, which I know you hate, but that for me and where I fish,
no, they work for sure.
It's a real idiot-proof lure. I mean, I hate to say it. If it gets rough, the conditions change. So we've been getting a few bites on that, and then been getting bit on bullets. And Garrett over.
I don't know. Garrett.
I always struggle with his last name. You know it. I want to say it's.
Is he here in Kona?
No, he's in Oahu. He's got.
Garrett.
I got it.
Oahu. I don't know.
I always Satumo.
Satumo lures. Yeah.
See, I struggle with his last name. Really nice guy. He actually stopped by the boat.
He's a super nice guy.
Yeah, super nice guy. He sent me this bullet that I've been using, like dish rags, really nice. Now you don't ever pull birds, do you?
Not really.
Yeah.
I don't want him to eat that thing.
Yeah. Well, see, for tuna, I've been running this one bullet of his. He sent me.
With a fish head in it, kind of deal.
This one does not have a fish head in it. It's kind of a heavier bullet. It's kind of rounded in the front. It's this black and purple thing. I've been getting a lot of bites on that. He sent me that. That's a really nice lure. That thing's been getting some cracks on it lately. Yeah. It's been taken for a few rides. And then one of Eric's lures of Aloha Lures, the good old Magic Malolo, the fish head.
Dude, I've been railed on that thing.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That's a really good.
That's like the best looking bullet I've ever pulled.
That's a really good one. That one gets railed too. The dangerous thing about that one fucking Marlin nailed that fucking thing.
That's billfish have been hammering it. Yeah. I have the bigger one, like the bigger size one or whatever.
Yeah.
I think there's a 9-inch and then the one size up, and everything's been hammering it. But yeah, billfish, Marlin have been all over it.
Yeah. No, it's so. I mean, just kind of. I've been getting pulled by I've just been getting bit with the basics, soft head and bullets, man. I mean, for me, like catching marlin is just
that's a pain. You know,
it's a pain. I love catching marlin.
Yeah.
But I'm not going out of my way to catch them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like if
commercial fishing.
Yeah, if I catch one in transit, great. It gives me something to do. And then if there's one to mess with around a marlin pile, I mean, I do everything in my power if it's a real big one to not have to deal with it. If the tuna fishing is good, the only time I'm going to play with the marlin, like the last couple of trips I would have played with them because they've been painfully slow. But for the most part, I'm not going to keep it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so unless it's like we catch like a small one, it's good. But like anything over, say, like 300 pounds, I want to let it go, really, because where it is, before you have to cut it. So like, the only asterisk on that is if it's dead, I'll keep it. But really, I don't like. I either want it to be like really big, and I know that I'm letting it go.
Yeah.
Or I want to know what's going in the box. Those in-betweeners are a huge pain in the ass for us, man. Huge. Like they're a lot of work. And especially if you catch it early in the trip. Like if you catch it early in the trip, then you have to deal with it. It's just, if you catch it on the ride home, maybe, you know, but I don't know. The last decent marlin I caught was on soft head. I just let it go. It was in the middle of a trip. It was a pain in the ass. It was like literally like in the worst place for ice and everything. Just let this thing go.
Yeah.
So, but I'm happy to see him. I still like catching them. I love catching them. So
yeah.
Figure I'll just kill it in the summer when it's bigger.
Yeah, just save it until the summer.
Yeah.
You got to get one lure that gets lucky we can pull this summer.
Oh well, there's ways to make lures lucky that we can't talk about this podcast.
Find a smash bait that get it lucky for this summer.
Oh man. Oh, actually, I forgot that's also true. I did pull a smash bait 2 days. On my last trip, I got bit on the grounds on the top corner. On my way there, I got bit and I jumped it off. It was just like a 275 or something on a smash bait. And then I pulled one the other day when I was talking to you and I didn't catch shit. But but you know, I'd like to tell you some story, but that's just what I have. I'm definitely gonna have you back on the show. I'm looking at the time here, and although I have like 100 other questions I want to ask you, I have to be responsible and pick up my children from school.
Yeah, you might want to do that.
Yeah, it's early release day. So
early release, that's what they call it.
Wednesday, yeah. They get out early every Wednesday.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anything you want to touch base on before we get going, man? Because it's easy. You're right up the road. We can get you back here.
Yeah, man. No, that was good.
All right, that was great.
Got together and did this.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked. Let's hear it all again. If they want to go to your surf ranch, how do they find you?
The surf resort is Solani Surf Resort. And they're on Instagram. We're on, check our website out. And the fishing is grandermarlin.com and Instagram's Grander Marlin. I don't do a whole lot on Facebook, but I think it is linked with Facebook. So there's a Grander Marlin Facebook thing. But come on down here and fish with us.
And then GZ Lures.
GZ Lures, yeah. That's the company I've been working with. Keep an eye on it. And like I said, we're selling hooks and all kinds of stuff and great lures, great tackle. And we're motivated to try and get the best stuff out there to you guys. So hit us up.
And are you still affiliated with Pelagic? I see your hat there.
Yeah.
Still working with those guys?
Just on their pro team and wearing their clothes and best stuff. I think it's the best stuff out there. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm biased, but
well, you might be a little bit. You know, I like them too. But have you seen any deep apparel? I don't want to go on a side tangent here.
No,
but
I don't know.
I might be doing something with them coming up.
Cool.
They sent me some stuff, and I really, really liked it. In fact, I'm not wearing the shorts now. I wore them to yoga this morning, but the sign that I really liked them is I absolutely destroyed them. Yeah, like I actually wore them to everything. I'm like, all right, I'm ordering more of these. So they're cool. They're doing a lot of stuff out of recycled stuff. That's a whole different tangent.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that on the road, but super stoked to have you here, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
And let's do it again.
Let's do it.
Thanks, bro. And all right, guys. Well, thanks at home. Appreciate it. And shoots. Later.
See ya.